Honorable Ministers, Members of the Parliament, Your Excellencies, members of the Diplomatic Corps, distinguished guests, and invited guests who have traveled from over a dozen countries, members of the media, ladies and gentlemen, and dear, dear children. Welcome to this very blessed event this evening, the Gift of Life ceremony. My name is Bhuvna Santanam. I'm the CEO of Global Outreach of the Sai Global Federation of Foundations, and I'm honored to be given this opportunity by the Sai Prema Foundation to be your host for this evening. Sai Prema Foundation is now an integral part of the Sai Global Federation of Foundations, which comprises of individuals who work selflessly for the cause of children around the world, led by Sadguru Shri Madhusudan Sai across 30 countries, who is here with us this evening. A big round of applause. The Sri Sathya Sai Sanjeevani Children's Hospital right here in Suva, Fiji, is indeed an unprecedented project in the history of the South Pacific, and in particular, this beautiful, beautiful nation of Fiji. And it is a labor of love, of good-hearted people from around the world. USA, Italy, Netherlands, Middle East, India, Singapore, Australia, New Zealand, and of course from the Fiji Islands. The Honorable Prime Minister of Fiji, Mr. Warange Bainimarama, along with Sadguru Shri Madhusudan Sai and other dignitaries, had inaugurated this wonderful hospital on April 27th, and on April 30th, the surgeries commenced. He was to be with us here this very evening, but due to a last-minute engagement, he is unable to join us. The Honorable Prime Minister has sent a lot of his love to the dear children. Despite delays due to COVID, rallying so many vendors from around the world, procuring machinery, high-end medical equipment from around the world, organizing contractors, laborers, getting them to follow all the COVID protocols, all the COVID guidelines, gathering high-end specialist medical teams, and above all, taking the health risks to return the precious child healthy and safe into the longing arms of the anxious parents is possible only for people infused with goodness and who do not know the word impossible. And this absolutely pertains to every single person who was involved in this beautiful edifice, the Sri Sathya Sai Sanjeevani Children's Hospital here in Fiji. Thank you all very, very, very much from all the children. To live in love, and serve for the sake of love is our very purpose. And to us, our object of love is each and every individual without any exception. So the Sri Sathya Sai Sanjeevani Hospital in Fiji has joined the ranks of the global chain of Sanjeevani hospitals that serve children for free. It's just the beginning of an endless journey of doing good to the world. Our ancient Indian scriptures say, Vaidyo Narayano Hari, which means the doctor is verily God. But our Sadguru Shri Madhusudan Sai says, Rogi Narayana Hari, which means the patient is verily God. And that the patient is a manifestation of the divine. So every life is precious, and therefore every life must be celebrated. And we are all here, ladies and gentlemen, to celebrate these precious hearts who've gathered here and who've all been given this beautiful gift of life. On behalf of everyone seated here, we would like to welcome our dignitaries on the dais, and we'd first like to offer a floral bouquet to Sadguru Shri Madhusudan Sai, who's spearheading this mission of love and service, of setting up noble initiatives in the verticals of healthcare, education, nutrition, absolutely free of cost in every single country across the globe in all the 5 continents. His Excellency, Mr. Tony, and his wife, Mrs. Izumi Grubel. He's here to encourage and motivate the team who have come here from the United States of America to perform these surgeries. He's a charge d'affaires from the United States of America Embassy here in Fiji. The next 4 individuals are our heart ambassadors for this children's hospital, advocating the cause of congenital heart disease in Fiji and the Pacific. His Excellency, Mr. Sujiro Seem, the European Union Ambassador to Fiji and the Pacific, and his wife, Mrs. Jane Ren Seem. His Excellency, Mr. Paul Welsh, the British Deputy High Commissioner to Fiji, and his wife, Mrs. Jessica Welsh. Mr. Levan Bawadze, the UNDP Resident Representative of Fiji and the Pacific. In fact, Sai Prema Foundation and the UNDP have signed a collaborative partnership to work towards the sustainable development goals through the various initiatives. Dr. Paula Vivili, Deputy Director General Pacific Community, and Sai Prema Foundation and the Pacific Community have signed a collaborative partnership to facilitate the treatment of children with congenital heart disease among all the Pacific Island nations. Next is Mr. Bob Bozani, a philanthropist from Southern California who has supported many noble initiatives. Dr. Sean Seti, Head of Department of Cardiac Surgery, Miller's Children's and Women's Hospital and the Long Beach Memorial Medical Center, California, USA. And he has led this wonderful team of medical professionals, and he has operated on every single child. Mr. C. Srinivas, Chairman, Sri Sathya Sai Sanjeevani Hospitals, who's spearheading the establishment of these hospitals globally. We also acknowledge the presence of the Minister of Health and Medical Services, the Honorable Dr. Ifa Riame Wangai Nabete, and various government officials, high commissioners and ambassadors, and members of the Diplomatic Corps. We would also like to express our love to the Sai Prema Foundation team on the dais, Chairman and Founding Trustee, Mr. Mahindra Tapu, Director of the Foundation, Mr. Sumit Tapu, and Director of the Sri Sathya Sai Sanjeevani Children's Hospital in Fiji, Dr. Kripali Tapu. Today is day 8, and 27 children have been operated upon, and tomorrow is the last day of the surgeries, 3 more to go. 2 total anomalous pulmonary venous return, which included a 7-week-old baby, 1 partial anomalous pulmonary venous return, 9 different types of atrial septal defect closures, 1 ventricular septal defect, 2 AV canal, 2 children with pulmonary valve repair and atrial septal defect, 1 pacemaker, 2 VSD, ASD, PDA, and 7 PDA. I think to a lot of us, this might sound different, this might sound Latin, but this team of medical professionals sitting here have given their 24/7, day in and day out, not minding the long hours, coming in at 6 a.m., going at 8:30 or 9 every single night, just for these precious children. May we now invite Dr. Kripali Tapu, the medical director of the hospital, to address all of us. She's an Australian qualified general practitioner, a fellow of the Royal Australian College of General Practitioners, and Dr. Kripali is based at Mitchell's Clinic in Tapu City, Suva, and has a special interest in women and children's health. May we please invite Dr. Kripali Tapu to address all of us.
The head of Global Humanitarian Mission of Love and Service, Sadguru Sri Madhusudan Sai, government ministers, and we acknowledge the presence of the Minister for Health, Dr. Wangai Nabete, and also the Permanent Secretary for Health, Dr. James Fong, members of the Diplomatic Corps, distinguished guests from around the world, our visiting international surgical team, members of the media, ladies and gentlemen, warm greetings on this momentous day, the Gift of Life celebration, which will celebrate the children whose lives have been changed forever by these free heart surgeries at the Sri Sathya Sai Sanjeevani Children's Hospital over the past week. 10 days ago, on the 27th of April, we witnessed the inauguration of the Sai Sanjeevani Children's Hospital, What an incredible day that was. But to imagine that from the 30th of April, in a short span of 8 days, 27 lives have been saved already for children with congenital heart disease. Many of these children and their families had no hope, but Sanjeevani Hospital Fiji gave them hope. As Bhuvna mentioned earlier, the youngest child operated is only 7 weeks old, and the eldest so far is 13 years old. So one more day of surgeries tomorrow, and then the visiting team will slowly depart as the children get discharged from the hospital. A total of 30 surgeries will be conducted during this visit, saving the lives of 30 children and giving their families much relief that their precious children will be able to live a normal life, to run, to play, grow, attend school, and become useful citizens in society. And they may feel inspired to help others who are in need when they grow up. The 22-member pediatric cardiac team has been led by our brilliant surgeon, Dr. Sean Seti, who is the Larry and Helen Hogue Foundation Endowed Chair in Pediatric Cardiovascular Surgery, Medical Director of Pediatric and Adult Congenital Cardiac Surgery, Chief Division of Cardiothoracic Surgery at the Long Beach Medical Center in the USA. Now, the team consists of the best medical professionals from around the world, working in institutions such as the Stanford, Long Beach Memorial, Shriners Hospital for Children, Colorado Children's Hospital, Queensland Children's Hospital in Brisbane, the Royal Hospital in Oman. We owe it to these amazing team that performed the inaugural surgeries at the Sanjeevani Fiji Hospital and for volunteering their time and their skills. Now, they all work in different hospitals in different parts of the world. However, when you witness them in the operating theater or in the wards, it seems that they've been working together for many, many years. Look, they've worked tirelessly for more than 12 hours a day just to make sure that our children receive the best possible care. And you know, most of them have never been to Fiji, and they have no connection to Fiji. But they came here because they have compassion for our children. No amount of thank you is enough for the kindness and generosity that you have shown to our children of Fiji. I salute you. You are our heroes. And you've also worked hard to start training our local medical professionals by transferring your knowledge and your skills. And Sai Prema Foundation Fiji and the Sanjeevani Hospital will forever be grateful to each and every one of you. And we hope that you will come back to Fiji again and again. Now, there are so many stories that I can share with you about, about the children and about the families, but I will just share a few that are quite significant and that they've had a very significant impact on these children in terms of giving them a gift of life. Now, our youngest patient, who was 7 weeks old, was born at the CWM hospital. And when this baby was only 3 weeks old, he presented to one of the health centers in severe respiratory distress and then had to be retrieved to the CWM hospital. And this baby was on life support for a few days. The oxygen levels were quite low. They were in their 80s. And an echo or a scan of the heart was done for this baby. And the baby was diagnosed with a congenital heart defect. It was a total anomalous pulmonary venous return, a TAPVR. And in this condition, the 4 blood vessels that carry oxygen-rich blood to the heart from the lungs, they aren't connected correctly. And this is a critical congenital heart defect, and it requires urgent surgery within the first few weeks of life. Now, this baby was very fortunate that the team was here just in time to perform his surgery. Otherwise, he would have lost his battle to life. Now, this week has been quite hectic and it's been busy with the surgeries, but it has given us so much joy. Seeing the beautiful smiles on the faces of the children and the parents who've been given a new lease of life. We all know that when a child suffers, he or she doesn't suffer alone. It's the suffering of the whole family. And for us here to be able to alleviate some of this suffering has made it all worthwhile. I've been really privileged, to be in the operating theater, to be in the intensive care unit and the wards, to observe these surgeries, and it's really been a blessing. And Dr. Sean Seti, who's sitting here, he's so amazing, and he makes the very, very complex surgery appear like it's so simple that it's just a walk in the park. And the team in the operating theater, they're so efficient, they're so incredible. Each and every one of them, including the anesthetist, Dr. Scott Stenquist. So they're all seated up in front here. And Dr. Ranga, they're all so efficient. The theater nurses, working on their feet for long, long hours, making sure that everything's there, everything's ready so that the surgeries can happen. The intensive care unit is also a very important part of the journey of the child, because they go from there, from the operating theater to the ICU. And Dr. Monica Gupta, she's been making sure that these children get excellent post-operative care. And she works with a team of very dedicated and hard-working intensive care unit nurses. They've been working, long 12-hour shifts, doing day and night shifts. And they've worked really hard, and we've received such excellent outcomes for all of our children. And the hospital, it's such a complex area, because you have your clinical spaces, but then you've also got your laundry, your kitchen, your CSSD, all the other support services, and the cleaning. And also we're so grateful to all the staff who've manned all of these different areas, and to keep infection control at bay. We're also fortunate to have a pediatric cardiologist, Dr. Gregory Adamson. He was here and he screened the children. Unfortunately, because of work commitments, he can't be with us today, but we're remembering him as well, and we thank him for all his hard work. Throughout this week, I have spoken to so many parents and received so much of feedback, a lot of positive feedback about the care that they've received. And one thing in common was about, how kind and compassionate the staff were. They just couldn't believe how amazing it was. Everything was explained to them. They understood what was happening to their child. They were really happy with what food they were given, with the meals. And some of them even said that they were given hotel quality meals, which was a real compliment. And they also felt that every need of theirs was met. So I sincerely thank each and every one of you who was involved in making their journey a wonderful journey. It is a scary thought when a parent has to give their child into the operating theater, and you've all made it much easier, so thank you. And ladies and gentlemen, look, this is just the beginning of the Sanjeevani journey, and we have so much more work to do to ensure that we emerge and become the most important pediatric cardiac care center in the Pacific. And very soon we'll embark on screening of children in the South Pacific Island countries. And we hope that before our first anniversary, we're able to provide free surgeries for some of these children from our neighboring Pacific Islands. And in just a few short months, we are looking at another surgical visit by our team from Sanjivani, India. And similarly, we will continue with very regular surgical visits. And at the same time, we'll work on building local capacity. My sincere gratitude also to Dr. Elisapedi Veretti. She's the head of Department of Pediatrics, for all her support. And I just also like to acknowledge Dr. Marianne Korai. She's our pediatric consultant here from CWM as well. And she has sincerely assisted the surgical team in all the efforts, in all the planning. She also received a scholarship by the foundation, and she went and did an attachment at the Sanjeevani Hospital in India in non-invasive pediatric cardiology. Also, a very big thank you to all the CWM hospital staff and the Ministry of Health staff who are attached with the visiting team. And on behalf of Sai Prema Foundation Fiji and the Sanjeevani Children's Hospital and all of us here, I would also like to express my sincere gratitude to all the individuals, all the organizations, and all our special guests from around the world who have supported Sanjeevani Hospital Fiji. Without each and every one of you, this would not be possible. So a big round of applause for each and every one of you. And on this special day, it's also my birthday. And I'm so fortunate to be celebrating it with all these beautiful children, the amazing surgical visiting team, and all of you. Thank you so much, and I hope you all have a wonderful evening.
We would now like to invite Dr. Sean Seti to address all of us, the very accomplished surgeon who has led the surgeries, and truly, watching him in action at the operating theatre has been brilliant. Dr. Seti is a triple board certified in surgery, thoracic surgery, and congenital heart surgery. Dr. Seti has experience in all the aspects of pediatric and adult congenital cardiac surgery, including the tiniest neonatal baby to an octogenarian. He also has experience in robotic and transplant surgery. He is currently involved in multiple basic and clinical cardiac research projects. He is one of the only 2 physicians in the pediatrics category, which was awarded top doctors in the Los Angeles Business Journal in 2017. He was recognized once again as a top doctor by the Los Angeles Business Journal in 2022. Dr. Seti's primary interest is in providing the highest level of individualized care for each of his patients. Dr. Sean Seti.
Thank you to everyone seated here and for the inspiration on the stage. Sadguru Sri Madhusudan Sai, to the Sai Prema Foundation, happy birthday Kripali. Mr. C. Srinivas, Mr. Bozani, and all the other dignitaries on the stage. It's a bittersweet feeling sitting here because we have one more day left. But I'd like to echo probably some of the things that Dr. Kripali has stated. This is truly a team sport, and it's the members of the team that actually make this happen. I mean, the surgeon's really just one little part of it, and I can say there's not going to be a better group of people you're gonna have on this team. Every single one of them, true professionals, the top of their game. But I was telling Marianne the other day that I think she's a wonderful doctor, and Fiji is so lucky to have Marianne here. Is she here? I don't see her right now. She's working, of course she is. So. But the thing I told her right after that was, not only was she a great doctor, but I thought she was even a better person. And I can say the same thing about everyone seated here and everyone working on these kids tonight. I think that's what makes this team so special, and they're from all walks of life. They're coming from all over the globe, and most of us didn't even work with each other. And so seeing them put all their effort on the child is really what brought us together. And that some of the beautiful children are here, and it's so nice to see them doing well. So we completed our 27th surgery just about an hour ago, and we have one more day left, hoping to hit our target mark of 30. And I can tell you it's been a journey, and I think the members of the Sai Prema Foundation can probably tell you the same thing. And this didn't just start a few weeks ago. This started years ago, and just to see the dedication and effort that they've put into it has motivated us to do the same. And it's amazing what they've done here. And this is a beautiful center. It's a beautiful hospital. I can tell you it's on par with what we have in the West, and a lot of aspects are actually better than what we have in the West. It's dedicated to the patient, and I think that's what we all love about it, and that's actually what makes this worthwhile. I can tell you, as we were reviewing some of these patients a few months ago and getting everything together, it wasn't but February that we were asked to come. And so all of the members of the team here got a phone call, and it was amazing to see them rally around and come. They didn't really even ask or make excuses. It was like, when is it? And let me see if I can get off of work. But I will say it didn't hurt that it was in Fiji. So, but it was amazing to see how quickly it came together. And you know, this isn't just the team here. It just doesn't in Fiji. This is like a global phenomenon. We had a patient who was in need of a pacemaker, and in order to get that kind of equipment, you need months and months and months in advance to get it. But we're able to talk to a few people in the United States. The company actually came together to provide the pacemaker and the leads for us in a matter of weeks. And I think that's really hard to do unless you have the same feeling. So this is global. This isn't, and they're all seated back here, all of the members from the other countries. And I think that's what we need to do, is we need to be able to rally around this. You know, patients who needed the pacemaker had a resting heart rate in the 40s and 50s. And this poor young man has been living like that his whole life. And so to see him get his pacemaker and have a normal heart rhythm, and this is a very charismatic young man who, you know, keeps his feelings close to his chest. He broke down the following day because of what was given to him. And that was special for, I think, his family to see, but also for us to see. Now, several of the patients, they don't even know what normal is. So when you ask them, are you having symptoms, they don't know. They've always been that way. They always breathe hard. Some of the babies have trouble feeding. So it's beautiful to see, you know, several of the mothers the next day say, I've never had my baby finish a meal without taking deep breaths. So we've witnessed that in a period of 24 hours. You know, I think, and lastly, in closing, you know, I want to thank the Fijian community for allowing us to actually come into their country and allowing us to operate on their children. I don't think there's a bigger thank you than we can get for doing that. It's really our pleasure to come here and do that. So once again, thanks to our team members, and thanks to all of you.
We would now like to invite Mr. Bob Bozani to address all of us. He's just 92 years young, the youngest in this audience today. He's from Southern California. He's a philanthropist who braved the long flight just to be here and just to see the joy on the faces of the parents. And we thank him from the bottom of our hearts for what he's done for the children of Fiji. And in his honor, the operating theatre has been named after his wife, the Barbara Bozani Operating Theatre. Mr. Bob Bozani.
My most presumptuous, my beloved Lord, this is a surprise to be up here and say a few words, but believe me, to have been here to see the hospital before it was in operating, that alone was a miracle. But soon thereafter, after the operations began, I was invited to come over and able to take a tour, dress us all up, and to see that beloved energy of our beloved Lord throughout that whole hospital. Everybody just serving, have the energy, it was unbelievable to see. I wish I could share it to all my brothers and sisters when I go back to the States. But this feeling, and then going in and see first where the babies are out, the next, and every single place was a miracle to see the mothers happy when they're out. Then lastly, go into the operating room and see a baby being prepared. I really have, and as when I walked out, I really don't cry all the time, but there it was impossible not to cry. A cry in joy to see this miracle in full operation, and all of them, and then to see the dedication from Dr. Seti, the nurses. It is so hard to share this, to be able to relate this particular miracle. And miracles really don't happen. They are created through the inspiration, but everybody has to participate. And the other night, we had the privilege to listen to Samit, his wife, all of his family, and I was in awe to see that participation of faith, dedication, never saying no, always saying yeah, and the difficulties that they went through. I knew a little bit about it, but to listen in that, I wish you, I mean, it is incredible, and I have to give a hand to that family who, and the problems that they faced, but they didn't bother them a bit. They just moved ahead. And that is the true dedication and joy, in my view, why this all happened through the inspiration of our beloved Lord. With that, I appreciate the opportunity to say a few words. And I would like to also say about the people here in Fiji. They've been so nice, and it's been a joy to be here. And it's a beautiful country. I've never seen so much greenery all around. So all the way around, this trip for me has been more than remarkable, and it's something I will never forget. So I thank everybody for this opportunity to just share a few words with us. And I thank you all.
May we now invite Sadguru Sri Madhusudan Sai to address all of us. And he's the reason we are all here today. He's the reason that these surgeries could have happened. He's been the inspiration for each and every one of us to lead this path of love and service. Sadguru Sri Madhusudan Sai.
An Indian saying goes, there goes a child too. Such a joy to see them running. They came in their parents' arms, all tired and breathless, and now they're running around the whole place. That's the proof of the work. So back to my speech. The Indian saying goes that only narrow-minded people think that these people are ours, they belong to us, and those don't. For the broad-minded people, the whole world is one family. Udara charitanam tu vasudhaiva kutumbakam. And it is such a delight to see this truth manifest here, thousands of miles away from India, in this beautiful island nation, Fiji Islands, and seeing all of us gathered together in the spirit of one global family. It is a really very delightful and heartening experience for all of us who have come from India, because this is what the world needs today. When we break down those narrow domestic walls of I and mine and gather as one global family to help each other, to celebrate our joys, to share our sorrows, to help each other and alleviate each other's pain, that is the global family that we are building over here. And today, 27 more children and their families have joined this beautiful global family. So first and foremost, I would like to welcome these 27 new families and 3 in offing for joining us in this global endeavor to bridge these gaps between different worlds that we live in and make that all a one happy global family. So most welcome to all of you. Mahatma Gandhi said, the difference between what we do and what we are capable of doing would suffice to solve most of the world's problems. We are all born to do good. We are capable of doing good. But how much good is good enough is something that we must ask ourselves. The other day, when the president of the country visited our center for human development, he shared his thoughts too, and he said, goodness is something that we are obliged to do at all times. He said we must think, we must feel it, and then we must do it. Without feeling, we shouldn't do. So doing good should be a feeling of response to the need of others, a spontaneous response to the need of others. It does not know any calculations, it does not know any deliberations, it does not know any argumentations. It simply spontaneously responds to the need, to the pain, to the suffering of others. That is the good we should be capable of doing. We see pain, we see problems, we see sorrow all around. Many times we want to do something, but we do not know how to do it. And here is an opportunity for all of us to get together and do good. And many of us have grabbed this opportunity with both hands. As Sean was telling, many of these medical team people, they are very busy professionals. But they have taken time off. I'm sure they would have cancelled a holiday or two for this year because they spent all their time at Fiji doing this good work. And that is the sacrifice they made to make this happen. For some of us, helping a child get a surgery, get an operation might mean postponing purchasing a car to another year, or downsizing our lifestyle by shifting to a house with one room less. Or to some of us, it may mean a few extra hours of effort like all these people have put in. To some others, it may mean cutting down a foreign holiday by a few days. And to some others, it may simply mean a few lesser dollars in their already fat bank accounts. But to these children, it means a whole new world. To these mothers and fathers, it's hope. And to this world in which we live in, this is the gateway to infinite possibilities. People ask us, what is the impact of what we do? I ask them back, tell me, how do I measure a mother's happiness? How do I assess a father's relief? How can I ever monetize the value of human life? How can I tangibilize goodness in your socio-economic indicators? Tell me about it and I will tell you what is the impact. So the impact of this work is infinite. The child who has been operated grows up to become a noble, able citizen of the world and goes on to do so much more good, which can never be measured. Because goodness is infinity, goodness is God, so it's infinite. And we are so blessed that today we are all a part of this good endeavor. It's a great hospital, but more than that, it's a good hospital where everybody feels for each other. I was talking to a doctor and she said, thank you for giving us this opportunity. And I had to tell her, thank you for taking this opportunity. Because I give opportunity, we all get opportunities, but not many take it. Many pass it. Another time, another day, maybe next year. But here are a few people who took this opportunity, who grabbed this opportunity, came all the way to serve the people, led by Dr. Sean Seti. And it's a beautiful story of Dr. Seti. When he was a young boy and he met his master, Bhagwan Sri Sathya Sai Baba, and asked, what should I do in my life? He told him to become a surgeon. And his jaw dropped. And then he told him, become a cardiac surgeon. The jaw dropped further. And then he told me, become a pediatric cardiac surgeon, and his jaw was on the floor. But today, the pediatric cardiac surgeon that he became has saved so many lives here in Fiji. This hospital is for the people, of the people, and therefore it is by the people. Every one of us is needed to do what is to be done here. We are so many families over here to celebrate this occasion, this momentous occasion, unprecedented one. And we all have an obligation. We all have a responsibility. And if every one of us does what we are capable of doing, not just what we are doing, I'm sure much more can be done in coming times. Sri Sathya Sai Sanjeevani hospitals in India, they do almost this number every day. So it's not a big deal for Sanjeevani hospitals to do it here, but it's a big deal to do it in Fiji Islands. And I want to make a big deal out of it, because we must celebrate goodness. We must spread this awareness. We must spread this news. We must spread the joy and cheer. And that is why this occasion is so important for us. We could have sent the children back after discharge and need not have called them back again. But today we call them all back. They have all come dressed up in such nice attires, especially the little girls and the boys in their bula shirts. And it is such a happy occasion to see all of them playing, dancing, chatting, and some of them even troubling their mothers, let's go out and play. But they will get very wonderful gifts over here. Look, you have a lot of gift hampers, and I'm sure they will be delighted to receive all of them. But more than anything else, this gift of life is such a gift which cannot be measured in monetary terms. Socio-economic indicators, or what it will do to the people of the society, or how it will add to the GDP of the country, these calculations are left far behind compared to the good that it generates. And each of this child is going to, we do not know, some of you, they may get inspired and become another Sean Seti. Some of them may get inspired, become another doctor or nurse over there. Some of them get inspired, become a health minister tomorrow. Some of them may get inspired, become an ambassador of goodness. They can be anything. And that is the infiniteness of goodness. That is the impact which can never be measured. So let's keep doing good. It is our honor to be a part of this wonderful opportunity, and I'm so glad that all of us have taken this opportunity with both the hands. I was discussing with Sri Srinivas ji, who is heading the global chain of Sanjeevani hospitals, as to what's next, what's coming next. And he said the Sanjeevani team from India is coming in June, mid-June, and we'll have cardiologists, pediatricians, even a dentist, and several other nurses who will be here stationed for 3 months continuously doing cath procedures, while another team, a surgical team, will come in end of June to do the next set of surgeries. And every alternate months we will bring teams from various parts of the world. Singapore is next. They are preparing a team of surgeons to come here and do it in August after we are done in June. And then again December, I hope our US team would be able to make another visit here. And this is how we will keep doing this work till we have a permanent team over here. Right now, because the teams are coming and going, there are some uncertainties always. But once we have a completely established team over here, surgeries will go on every single day of the year. Nevertheless, we hope we will do at least 400 procedures and surgeries before we celebrate the first anniversary. And that is my hope and wish. And I'm sure they are all delighted that it's not a big number. So once again, I would like to thank every one of you, all the ambassadors, their excellencies, and their better halves who have graced this occasion. And I'm sure you are not just going to be the ambassadors who speak about it, but you will put it into action and see to that this hospital becomes one of the finest hospitals, absolutely free of cost, serving the children of Fiji and Pacific nations. I am also very honored and very happy to have some of the representation from the government of Fiji, and I'm sure this institution will always have their support and solidarity for all times to come. Once again, I don't have to thank Mr. Bob Bozani because he's just our own, and I think he would not like it to, but for the sake of letting people know that he's a man of sacrifice and he has no desires whatsoever except to do good, to follow the divine command. And we need more and more of your kinds, Bob, to make a better world than what it is today. Yeah. Thank you so much for being here. And at 92, it's not easy to travel that far, and that too with all the COVID risks. But he has come here and he's celebrated this occasion with us. We are very, very grateful. I would like Mr. Srinivas to just give a brief of what we are going to do next, because I mean business. Celebrations aside, what's next? That's the question that I always ask. We are done with these 30, now what's coming next, and how soon and when and where? So that is something that he can answer, and I want our team from Fiji to work hand in hand with the Sanjeevani hospitals. And I also take pride, and I'm honored to say that the next Sanjeevani hospital is opening in Sri Lanka very soon. So some of you who could make it to Sri Lanka, who can come there, and that's another country, we all know it's in tremendous crisis at this point in time, and hope to see you all, many of our friends from different countries who have joined us here. I hope to see you all in Sri Lanka soon. That will be the second chapter of the Sanjeevani hospitals outside India. Thank you very much. May all the beings in all the world be happy. May these children grow into good citizens, noble citizens of the world, not just of this nation, and do more and more good to others. That's the only thing we expect from all the mothers and fathers. Help them become good people who will help more people. Is that all right? Yes, that's all we expect. Thank you very much once again.
Most revered and dearest Sadguru Sri Madhusudan Sai, respected Bob Bozani, my dear brother, dearest Sean, Mahendra Tappuji, blessed with Sumit and Kripali, Your Excellencies, each and every one of you, and madams, Honorable Minister Sir, Secretary of Health, and officials of the Ministry of Health, Government of Fiji, so many sisters and brothers gathered from so very many countries, ladies and gentlemen, sisters and brothers, and purposely kept to the last, the honored stars of today's show, the little children and their beloved parents, who mark the commencement of services to the country of Fiji in the form of the 27 children who were operated by brilliant Sean and the equally brilliant team that made up his set of people. God bless all of you. To most of you here, I doubt if you have ever attended a ceremony titled Gift of Life ceremony. It's a very different ceremony. And why is it called so? The human heart forms in the second month in the fetus when the mother is carrying the baby. In as early as 40-45 days, the sign of life begins to kick when the human heart begins its act of pumping. The journey of 9 months goes on thereafter, God willing, resulting in the birth of a child. The gift of life ceremony, honestly, begins at that point in time. It is in a country like Fiji, which is world famous for the Fiji War Dance. I picked the Fiji War Dance on purpose because the gift of life precedes, honestly, the battle of life. All of us here have been victorious in a battle that began to rage from 45 or thereabout days when we were in the wombs of our mother. Having seen, I would reckon, over 50,000 pediatric heart surgeries in my life that I am blessed with, I have been in awe, in mystic wonder at how this battle of life begins in the womb. What is a child in a womb who knows, and I'm using the word knows. Children in the womb are like in Walt Whitman's words, infants crying in the night, infants crying for the light with no language but just a cry. This is the story of congenital heart disease. One must remember that as much as all of us seated here, good souls, gather together to fight for that little child, the battle of life, I would want to share with you that that little child in the womb, who both mystically, spiritually, and now proven scientifically, begins to know that it has now got friends which will wage the war for its battle of life. So the pediatric heart teams, my dear sisters and brothers, are the first warriors that the little child begins to sense in the womb. This child which knows no language, it only knows its language of a cry, knows in no uncertain terms. This is now proven by science and medicine that in the fetus, the child is beginning to sense. It has begun to know, which is why all pregnant mothers all over the world are told to live in love, to live in amongst kind people, so that the baby in the womb begins to receive love, kindness, and strength. So the pediatric cardiac team that operated today is the first friend that took the child as its support in the battle of life. And in this battle of life, which thereafter results in a surgery, it again knows, while one may not know of this angle of a thought, the child in the theater, the child in the ICU knows that it has a friend in Dr. Sean Seti who is fighting for it with his team to give it life. And this is the power, right from the health minister onwards, to every citizen who prays for that child deep within either the womb or on the table, diseased, crying, and waiting to win the battle of life. No wonder congenital heart surgery is declared as the most difficult ever surgery to be performed on the human body. A loud round of applause for Dr. Sean Seti and this team to have performed surgeries of this kind. One is more than aware that in a new, untested, untried, unserving hospital, to be the first surgeon with a first team is always a dare. You are never sure whether everything is going to go right, but you are the warriors. And in Fiji, you have danced the Bula war dance of Fiji. This is what is unique about congenital heart surgeries. And let me bring you to the last, which culminates into a gift of life ceremony. As I mentioned, the child knows that a set of people are now fighting for it. It knows that it is going to be born into a world, or it is going to live in a world where it has received, where it has got from people love, fight, and the strength to go about life. That is why, my dear parents, tell your children that a set of warriors fought for your child and brought it to life. That is why the gift of life becomes very, very special and unique. Children consciously know they are now made to preserve and protect this gift that they received. All of us cherish gifts that we receive, but these children are blessed to receive the gift of life. It is without a doubt, Honorable Minister, I would like to tell you that therefore, scientifically, these children, because it has been impregnated into their DNA, will grow with gratitude, will grow with the love and support that these warriors gave to them. And that is why we celebrate the gift of life ceremony. There is no ceremony like this on planet Earth. I said I saw over 50,000 children. When I go around countries, I see ceremonies happening long before when their children were saved, and there are multitude of societal organizations which regather, regroup to celebrate what this gift did. As revered Madhusudan Guruji told us, there have been Sean Setis that have been made because of gift of life ceremonies. There have been so many wonderful beings that this beautiful world has been blessed because somewhere, somebody unknown felt that they should fight for that child. It is an assurance under the guidance, blessing, and the strength of our founding father, Reverend Madhusudan Sai. Sanjivani will endeavor to see that it will make Fiji a congenital heart disease free nation, the first of its kind possibly in this wide world. It is a long journey, it is an arduous journey, but with the modeling that we have of preventive health, preventive cardiology, the first 1,000 days of human life program that we embark upon, we will, if not in this generation, in a generation in the future, we will see that congenital heart disease was a matter of the past in this beautiful country. This is the vision and mission of Sathya Sai Sanjeevani. Needless to say, Sanjeevani is honored to have Sathya Sai Sanjeevani Hospital in Fiji. Every single member of Sathya Sai Sanjeevani is a soldier in this mission, an assurance to Mahendraji, Sumit, and Krupali. You could not receive a better birthday gift. God bless all the lovely children, and God bless Fiji.
We would now like to felicitate the entire medical team who have worked round the clock to save these little hearts. This is the first time in the history of this nation, and in fact the entire South Pacific region, that a hospital with such high-end facilities has been constructed and pediatric heart surgeries have been performed absolutely free of cost. Ladies and gentlemen, may I also add here that this entire team, who are predominantly from the United States of America, Australia, and Oman, led by the very accomplished Dr. Sean Seti, have volunteered their expertise without any monetary angle, simply to be a part of this noble cause and to do their bit to the children of the world, to the children of Fiji. Like pieces of a puzzle, slotting to be put in place, they all came together. Incredibly, incredibly unique. We would now like to start with Dr. Sean Seti, who's been leading this team day in and day out for the last 8 days. Dr. Sean Seti. Dr. Scott Allen Stenquist. He's from the Children's Hospital, Colorado, United States of America. And he was the anesthesiologist. Dr. Ranganathan Ananthasubramaniam. He's from the National Heart Center, Royal Hospital, Muscat, Oman. And he's been the anesthesiologist as part of this incredible team. Dr. Gregory Thomas Adamson, the cardiologist who performed, and he's from Stanford Children's Health, and he's not here with us, but we would like to thank him for all the wonderful work that he did with the children before this incredible team came to Fiji. We have Mr. Sandy Madriaga Tolentino. He was the OR in charge from the Long Beach Memorial Hospital, Miller's Children's Hospital, California, USA. Mr. Craig McRobb, who was the perfusionist from the Children's Hospital, Colorado. Ms. Kirsty Catton, the first assist nurse practitioner from Stanford Children's Health, USA. Ms. April Lynn Hernandez, the OR circulating nurse, formerly from the Long Beach Hospital, USA. Ms. Sarah Victoria Bebe, the OR nurse from Long Beach Memorial Hospital, USA. We also have with us the intensive care team, which skillfully and lovingly ensures the children are taken care of and nursed back to the pink of their health after complex procedures and open heart surgeries, led by Dr. Monica Gupta. She's not here with us. She's currently on duty, and she's been leading the team at the ICU. We have Ms. Nina Panaligyan, who's the nurse practitioner, the pediatric cardiac ICU from Stanford Children's Health. I think she's also in the ICU. Ms. Francesca Jo Harris, the pediatric cardiac ICU nurse from Stanford Children's Health. Ms. Kaylee Suzanne Hursty, the pediatric cardiac ICU nurse, also from Stanford Children's Health. Ms. Rachel Dowell, also a pediatric cardiac ICU nurse from Stanford Children's Health. Ms. Ashley Usma, the pediatric cardiac ICU nurse from Helen DeVos Children's Hospital, Michigan. Ms. Deborah Blanche Pegg, the pediatric cardiac ICU nurse from Queensland Children's Hospital, Brisbane, Australia. Miss Mackenzie Smith, pediatric cardiac ICU nurse, also from the Queensland Children's Hospital, Brisbane. Miss Hayley Ross, pediatric cardiac ICU nurse, also from Queensland Children's Hospital, Brisbane. From the biomedical team, we have a dynamic father and son duo from the United States of America, Mr. Samuel Morris, the biomedical engineer, One World Biomedical. And Mr. Roy Morris, who's also a biomedical engineer from One World Biomedical, USA. The team also had assistance from the Health in Kind nurses from Australia, who aided in hospital coordination and adherence of COVID protocols to ensure there would be no infection amongst these vulnerable children undergoing surgery. Miss Shan Horrocks, the emergency nurse from Australia. And Ms. Diana Beth, the emergency nurse from Australia. I think she's also in the ICU. Thank you very, very much. And we thank all our dignitaries for bestowing our love to all of them. We would also like to extend our heartfelt gratitude to the wonderful Fijian team from the CWM Hospital here in Suva, a public-run hospital by the Ministry of Health. This team of about 25 people, comprising of 6 doctors, 10 nurses in the wards, ICU and OT, as well as the support staff in the CSSD, the laundry, the dietary department, provided much needed support to the international mission team. We would now like to call upon stage the stars of the evening. We will have the gift of life ceremony. These children are the recipients of the greatest gift in life. Each one of these surgeries gives back to the society a healthy being, capable of growing into a socially responsible, spiritually connected, and nationally contributing citizen. As these children gear up with the second lease of life, or as they begin their second innings in life, we collectively offer each one of them our best wishes and blessings. We're also grateful to these families for giving us an opportunity to serve. Many hundreds of children were screened over many months, and these are the children who've been operated. Before we invite them on stage, we will have a short video on this beautiful ritual, aptly christened by Sadguru Sri Madhusudan Sai as the gift of life. Can we please have the video?
Children who have holes in their hearts, they're born this way, we need to help them. And all these children cannot run or play, some will lose lives, we need to prevent that. All these children are falling down, and we can help pick them up again. And all their families are crying for help, and we will help pick them up again. They will survive. Ooh. Just take a stand so they're not alone. Take a stand. Save a life. They will survive. Ooh, they will thrive. Ooh, because every child deserves the gift of life. Because every child deserves the gift of life. Sanjeevani Hospital will help save lives. Free heart surgeries will keep these kids alive. Sanjeevani Medical, a beacon of life, answering prayers day and night. They will survive. Ooh, they will thrive. Ooh, because every child deserves the gift of life. Because every child deserves the gift of life.
Before we invite the little children who've undergone their heart surgeries, we'd like to call upon stage little Meera, Meera Tapu, daughter of Sumit and Dr. Kripali. And when Sadguru Shri Madhusudan Sai was talking about this hospital and told what was going to happen, she, on her own accord, took a piggy bank and started saving little pennies, saying that she wants to save children. And little Meera is coming on stage to hand over her piggy bank. She's shy, little Meera, handing over the piggy bank to Sadguru Shri Madhusudan Sai. If this is what a 3-year-old child can do on her own accord, I'm sure each and every one of us in this room and around the world can do so much more if we just expand our hearts and embrace every single one as our very own. Thank you, Meera. We'd like to call upon the first child, Sejal Raj, 10 years old. And the first surgery in this hospital was performed on this beautiful little princess. She underwent a PDA ligation. Her parents, her father is the only breadwinner in the family, and he found out about the condition during a casual school checkup.
There are some children who have holes in their hearts. They're born this way. We need to help them. And all these children.
We invite all
run or play.
the Heart Ambassadors, Your Excellencies and their spouses to bestow this gift to the little children.
Falling down, and we can help pick them up again. And all their families are crying for help. And we will
May we also ask the mother, Mrs. Shubila Wati, to say a few words.
survive. Ooh,
I asked the daughter, what do you want to become when you grow up?
Doctor.
And what will you do after becoming a doctor?
Treat.
Treat people like all children? Like how Dr. Sean and others have done?
Yes.
How much are you going to charge them? You must do it like we do, isn't it? Yeah, very good.
Thank you so much for all the support and the operation that well went. Thank you. We are really appreciate it. Thanks so much.
Do you want to say anything else? No, good. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Sejal. May we invite on stage Penny Turua, 5 years old. His little boy had his PDA ligation corrected. With his mother here, Miss Keat. The father is a farmer and is the only breadwinner of the family. And they did not know how this little child was going to be treated.
Because every child deserves the gift of life. Sanjeevani Hospital will help save lives. Free heart surgeries will keep these kids alive. Sanjeevani Medical.
We have Miss Advika Narayan, 3 years old, little girl. She had her ASD repair. And she's here with her mum, Rangita Prakash.
They will thrive. Ooh, because every child deserves
Her
the
parents
gift
are school
of
teachers.
life. Because every child deserves the gift of life. With the iconic heart, feelings evoke.
The next child is Danny Lee,
So much hope.
Sabu Matai Bulu,
All around the world,
2-year-old,
children will
who's
come.
had a BSD repair.
Fiji, where hearts will strong. They will survive. Ooh, they will thrive. Ooh, because every child deserves the gift of life.
His Excellency Mr. Paul Welsh
They will survive.
and his wife Mrs. Jessica Welsh, wishing the little
They
children
will thrive. Ooh, because every child deserves the gift of life. Because
Rohan Kumar, 6 years, had a ASD repair with his mother Divya Prasad.
because every child
He lives with his grandparents. The father is the only breadwinner in the family with a part-time job only, and they are only able to put food on the table. He's been given the gift of life by Dr. Paula Vivili, Deputy Director General, Pacific Community.
There are some children.
We'll next call upon Trisha Prasad, 13-year-old girl who's had ASD closure. She's here with her mother Sadhana. And may we ask His Excellency Mr. Tony Grubel and his wife Mrs. Izumi Grubel to bestow this child with the gift of life.
And we can help pick them up again. And all their families are crying for
The next child is Ahil Ali. He's a 10-year-old boy.
pick them up again. They will
He's here
survive.
with his mum, Famiza Ali. They've come here all the way from Labasa, the other largest island of Fiji. The father is a driver and the only breadwinner of the family. Ahil used to get very sick with high fever and was not able to share this with his parents. And today he's left speechless again for this gift of life. Thank you, His Excellency Mr. Sajiro Seem, the European Union Ambassador to Fiji and the Pacific, and his wife, Mrs. Jane Ren Seem, for gifting this child with much joy. We'd like to call upon the next child, Nazuki Nasila Sila, a 2-year-old girl who had a doubly committed VSD with her parents here. They are from the west side of the island, which is Lotoka, and the father is the only breadwinner of the family.
Just take a stand so they're not alone. Take a stand. Save a life.
Ian Singh, 4 months old, little baby, had the ASD closure and the PDA ligation with his parents on stage, Jagjit Singh and Vipashna Singh. Ian is their first child, and they found out about the heart condition at a baby clinic. Mr. Levan Bawadze, the UNDP resident representative for Fiji and the Pacific, bestowing the gift of life. We call upon stage Milika Ratuibao, a 1-year-old little girl who had a PDA ligation with her mother, Bilisi Manu. So Milika used to get fever and very bad cough, and the grandmother took her to the hospital and they got to know about her condition. Thank you, Dr. Paula, for bestowing this little child with the gift of life. May we please call upon Shaden Chand, a 6-month-old little boy who underwent a PDA ligation. I thank all the excellencies for their time. Thank you very much. Shaden was a preterm baby, was in the NICU, and when an echo was done, they found out about his condition. We'd like to call on stage the next child, Abhiyan Karan, 10 months old, little boy who had VSD repair and PDA ligation, with his mom, Zaria. We call upon the next child, Bulo Rokobuli, 10-year-old girl. We'd like Mr. Bozani to give away the next gift of life. Bulo Rokobuli, 10-year-old girl, has had an ASD closure. Has come here with the parents and the other siblings too. Their story is very emotional. They had a first child who passed away in 2007 with the same condition Bulo has gone through today. And may we request Mrs. Esther, the mother, to share her story with all of us.
Thank you. It's been a emotional journey for us as a family. Sometimes it's hard to share your story, but I believe it's important that you do so that people are aware of the help that's available to you. In 2007, December, we had our first child. at CWM, and from birth, the doctors were able to detect that she had a congenital heart disease. They provided her the best care that they could. She survived for 2 months. Even on the night that she was born, they allowed my husband, Etika, to enter into NICU because they thought she would not survive. She fought strong and hard. She lived for 2 months. She was given the best care that CWM could give at that moment. At that time, we had amazing doctors and nurses too. She passed away 2 months after 2 months we had gone home. 2 weeks at home, and she passed away in my arms. That was in 2008, February. I didn't have this special girl here till 2012. They also did a scan back then when I was pregnant. While I was still pregnant with her, all chambers and everything was intact. But as you know, babies are all born with that opening, and later on, I understand it's supposed to close. We didn't know that she had ASD until 2 years ago. She's having a normal day in school, playing, running around with her friends. And then she started to have breathlessness. To get that call at your workplace that your daughter is finding it hard to breathe after being through this years back and going through that again. My heart, I couldn't explain what I was going through, but I'm grateful that I have supportive colleagues, a supervisor who was very supportive and told me just leave everything and run. Both me and my husband, he took off from where he was, and I did the same, not knowing whether she's still breathing when you arrive. You're calling and you're driving. But God is great, God is good. We got her to be seen by the doctors. The first time she was seen, they couldn't really pick out what was wrong with her because she's breathing normally again. Everything was okay. And she, as a child, is very active. You don't really see any physical, characteristics that would imply that she has a heart condition. The second time it happened, I got so worried. The doctor then transferred us to a pediatrician, and on the third occurrence, I was glad that the doctor who saw us mentioned, I think you need to go down to Cyprema. And that's how our journey started at Cyprema. We came here to the reception area. Just so happened that one of the children that was supposed to come in for an echo didn't come in that particular day. And as I sat down, I felt her form. I was like, thank you, Lord, for giving us a chance. Whether it'll be a month or six months down the line, I'm glad that she'll be able to give in the help that she'll need. And to our amazement, as we sat there filling the form, the lady at the reception stood up and said, ma'am, if you would like your child to be seen now to have an echo, you can. There's an opening right now. And we just got up, the four of us, we went to see Dr. Marion. I would like to thank Dr. Marion, even the reception ladies at the front desk. They were so polite and nice. And Dr. Marion took her time to screen below. And the news was devastating for us. I didn't expect to have another child with congenital defect. But Dr. Marion was so professional and so positive. And I told her then and there the history that we both encountered as a family. And she said, it's gonna be all right. It's gonna be okay. We'll have her screened and we'll update you every now and then. She'll come in for screening, and if there's a team that comes in, we'll try and get her screened. And that was the beginning of her being seen at Cyprema. I went back, informed my family. I also called her school. I informed the teacher. I made an appearance there in person. It's important that we relay this information to those that would be around her so that they know what she's going through, and if anything happens, it's not just a normal, a normal fall or normal shortness of breath, to contact us immediately or please take her to the nearest health center. And then she had a couple of these breathlessness just leading up to her screening in April. And once just in April, I was at my desk when the phone rang, and my cousin and an aunt said they've taken her up to the doctor to be seen, and that she was having a lot of difficulty breathing, and she was on the NAB machine. Waited for 30 minutes, and then as her breathing became normal, by then we had arrived, and the doctor said, please, this is serious. I think she needs that urgent care. So I called Cyprema and just informed them that this has happened again, and they said, okay, we'll have her echo done again. You can come in. So we came in, we saw Dr. Marion, and Dr. Marion said, we'll have her on the list to be seen by the team. Come the 29th, we were here, we were seen by the team. On Saturday, we received the phone call that she will have surgery. And my heart was full of thanksgiving, full of joy, thanksgiving, and, just grateful to the Lord and grateful to the foundation for making this possible. To the team that was in from the United States, volunteering their service, and the connection to the Cyprema Foundation, to the CWM Hospital, because we had staff too in CWM that were there, the Tapu family, the Sadguru, and everyone that's, one way or another connected to the foundation. I would just like to thank you. I would like to thank the surgeon, Dr. Seti. Seti, you've been awesome, as a parent, my experience has been amazing, You come in with this heavy heart, but the way you are welcomed at the hospital is amazing, from the person at the front desk, to the cleaners, to those doing your laundry, to those in the kitchen, to the ward assistants, to the nurses, to the doctors, to those coming in from outside Fiji with the foundation, paying you a visit, saying hello. My heart was just grateful and thankful. The nurses, Ashley, Haley, Kylie, Nina, Francesca, thank you all so much. Deborah, Rachel, I may have not mentioned some of you. The nurses from CWM, Loata, Sala, Swesta, Shinal. Thank you all so much. Thank you to the entire team. Dr. Ranga, he just came and swift her off, and I had to run. I was like, am I supposed to follow them or not? Next thing, I'm running to the surgery, and then there's a limit where there's a boundary where you have to stop. And I was just waving, my daughter's gone in, Thank you all so much. You volunteered your time, to do this amazing work, not only for my child, but to all the brave children that got a chance, a second chance at life. The future is now theirs. And it's all because of you. And, you have all been amazing. And, the care that's given to the children does not only end with the children, it reaches us, the parents. It was either a dad or a mom or a grandparent, but you took so much consideration into having 3 meals a day prepared for you. Your family didn't have to come. I'm lucky. I could say we are just here, close by. I mean, we're 8 miles from the hospital. But there's families that come from Nandi, from Ngau, from all over, and, to think and worry about meals to eat, who will change your laundry and all of that. That was, a lot of thought taken into consideration by the foundation to be able to provide that service for us parents. And to even have, the family come around, say hello to your children, Sumit and Dr. Palita. Thank you so much. It means a lot to us, and, I just have so much. I'm just so grateful, thankful, and, this is what to love all and serve all is about, And I can go on and on, but I would just like to say thank you to each and every one of you who had a hand in this second chance of life to all these beautiful children. Vinaka Vakalevu. Thank you, Sidney Tony.
We call upon stage our next child, Ridesh Narayan, 11 years old, who had an epicardial pacemaker and lead placement. He's here with his father, Mr. Ashwin Narayan.
Children will come, Sanjeevani, Fiji, where hearts will strong. They will survive.
And can we please ask Mr. Ashwin to say a few words as well?
Hello. Do you want to say something? Bulaul. 2 weeks ago, I was told to come prepared. I didn't know what is going to happen, and they said, your name has been with the Sai Prema Foundation, Sri Sathya Children's Hospital, and we came prepared with the luggage and everything loaded in my vehicle, company's vehicle. And thanks to my company who supported me as well to keeping the vehicle duration of this surgery. And when we came, first thing we went was to the clinic side where they took the name. And then after that, I met with Dr. Sean Seti, NEX, and he told me, your son is going to have a pacemaker. And this was a miracle because my son is 11 years old and his heart rate was 50 beats per minute. And he has been living with that, and day in, day out. And when he mentioned that there was a pacemaker for him, just imagine what we felt like, oh my God, this really is a miracle. Is he going to have a pacemaker in him? And Dr. Sean Seti, with his team, did a marvelous job in him. And my son never cried a bit. And then while we were there, the service was so immaculate, like everything was so professional. You had your laundry done there. You just have to ask somebody just to have the laundry would be done, dried, and delivered to your side. Food was so nice. It was brought to your table. to your ward, children had same meal as the parents. Even there's a family room where all the parents can go and have their meals. There is even a prayer room to all religion, all faith. You can go in and pray, which is very touching. I had lots of things to say, but I'm getting a stage fright. And above all, Dr. Krupali, she met me, and this is a small child, Rishi. She's one of the foundation members, and as soon as we entered, he gave me a small card which read, "You are the superhero." And I kept it with my son, and later when so initially he was taken in, on Wednesday he was admitted. Thursday he had his surgery done, and Friday he was out. On the day of the surgery, he woke up around, let's say, 1 to 2 p.m. and then he had his first meal at 4 p.m. Imagine, after the surgery, he had his meal. Wow. He drank water, little sips of water. After that, he went to a small glass, and then he was having a bottle himself. And then he walked. He walked to the washroom. Such an amazing story. And he never shed a tear from the day he was operated. After a while, he was looking at all the small babies crying. He was not afraid. And April, he just did like this. Just maybe a hug or something. He needed that. Probably he didn't want to say this to me, and he was overwhelmed. And they cried, they hugged, and it was so touching. So thank you, Sai Prema Foundation, and all the Dr. Sean Seti, thank you so much. And Roy, the engineer. And there's a couple of names. It's Tapu, Sumitapu, Madam Krupali, and Sadguruji. Sorry if I've not mentioned your name, but highly sorry. I'm remembering it. And not to forget Dr. Fiona Riddle. She came in just because of the call from Mr. Shetty, just to assist us with the pacemaker and all. So thank you very much. God bless you all.
Our next child, Isoa Finiasi, a 2-year-old boy, had a pulmonary valvotomy and PDA ligation. The next child, Marika Uluiviti, 6-year-old boy, had the transitional AVSD. This child came all the way from Gau Island, which is a 4-hour boat ride from here. The father is a farmer and the mother is a teacher. We call on stage little Sarah Rokosalu, who's just walked out of ICU. A 11-year-old girl who had an ASD repair. She's from the old capital of Fiji, which is Levuka. The father is a farmer and the only breadwinner of the family, had no hopes that his little princess would be saved.
What they need is love. Just take a stand so they're not alone. Take a stand. Save a life. They will survive. Ooh, they will thrive. Ooh, because every child deserves
Thank you very, very
the
much,
gift of
Your Excellencies, the
love.
dignitaries, for giving so much joy to these children and their parents today. May we request everyone to take your seats, please, on the dais. We would now like to felicitate all the dignitaries for taking their time out, for supporting the Sai Prema Foundation every step of the way, and for being a part of this beautiful journey of these children. His Excellency Mr. Tony Grubel and his wife Mrs. Itsumi Grubel, thank you very, very much. May we please request you to kindly come forward and accept our token of love and appreciation. Thank you. His Excellency Mr. Sujiro Seem, the European Union Ambassador to Fiji and the Pacific, and his wife Mrs. Jane Renseem. His Excellency Mr. Paul Welsh, the British Deputy High Commissioner to Fiji, and his wife Mrs. Jessica Welsh. Mr. Levan Bawadze, the UNDP Resident Representative for Fiji and the Pacific. And Dr. Paula Vivili, Deputy Director General, the Pacific Community. May we also invite on stage Honorable Minister of Health, Government of Fiji, to please accept a token of our love and appreciation. May we now invite all the little children, the little stars of this evening back on stage for the cake cutting. We pray that you may live long and may this gift of good health bring joy, bring peace, and bring purpose to you, to your family, and to our beautiful world. We will now have the cake cutting.
Pick them up again, and all their families are crying for help, and we will help.
We also request the
Pick
Minister
them
of Health
up
to please
again.
join us
They
on
will
stage with these little children
survive. Ooh,
and the
they
dignitaries
will
from the government.
thrive. Ooh, because every child deserves the gift of life.
And we also have the Tuvalu Minister for Health, please, on
Because
stage.
every
Thank you.
child deserves the gift of life. can help them seal this hole. Just take a stand so they're not alone. Take a stand. Save a life. They will survive. Ooh, they will thrive. Ooh, because every child deserves the gift of life. Because every child deserves the gift of life. Sanjivani Hospital will help save lives. Free heart surgeries will keep these kids alive. Sanjivani Medical, a beacon of life, answering prayers day and night. They will survive.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you for being a part of this beautiful, beautiful